So many loved ones who never came home.
John Alfred Anderson, Colin Mark Ashcroft, James Gary Aspinall, Kester Roger Marcus Ball, Gerard Bernard Patrick Barron, Simon Bell, Barry Sidney Bennett, David John Benson, David William Burton, Tony Bland, Paul David Brady, Andrew Mark Brooks, Carl Brown, David Stephen Brown, Henry Thomas Burke, Peter Andrew Burkett, Paul William Carlyle, Raymond Thomas Chapman, Gary Christopher Church, Joseph Clark.
That friends will remember and families will mourn.
Paul Clark, Gary Collins, Stephen Paul Kopok, Tracy Elizabeth Cox, James Philip Delaney, Christopher Barry Devonside, Christopher Edwards, Vincent Michael Fitzsimmons, Thomas Stephen Fox, John Paul Gilhooly, Barry Glover, Ian Thomas Glover, Derek George Godwin, Roy Harry Hamilton, Philip Hammond, Eric Hankin, Gary Harrison, Stephen Francis Harrison, Peter Andrew Harrison, David Hawley.
Some grieve together and some grieve alone.
James Robert Hennessy, Paul Anthony Hewitson, Carl Darren Hewitt, Nicholas Michael Hewitt, Sarah Louise Hicks, Victoria Jane Hicks, Gordon Rodney Horn, Arthur Horrocks, Thomas Howard, Thomas Anthony Howard, Eric George Hughes, Alan Johnson, Christine Ann Jones, Gary Philip Jones, Richard Jones, Nicholas Peter Joins, Anthony Peter Kelly, Michael David Kelly, Carl David Lewis, David William Mather.
All walks of life, they followed their team.
Brian Christopher Matthews, Francis Joseph McAllister, John McBrien, Marion Hazel McCabe, Joseph Daniel McCarthy, Peter MacDonald, Alan Madlone, Keith McGrath, Paul Brian Murray, Lee Nichol, Stephen Francis O'Neill, Jonathan Ohms, William Roy Pemberton, Carl William Rimmer, David George Rimmer, Graham John Roberts, Stephen Joseph Robinson, Henry Charles Rogers, Colin Andrew Hugh William Sefton, Inger Shah.
They were old, they were young, and those in their teens.
Paula Ann Smith, Adam Edward Spirit, Philip John Steele, David Leonard Thomas, Patrick John Thompson, Peter Reuben Thompson, Stuart Paul William Thompson, Peter Francis Tootle, Christopher James Traynor, Martin Kevin Traynor, Kevin Tyrrell, Colin Wafer, Ian David Whelan, Martin Kenneth Wild, Kevin Daniel Williams, Graham John Wright.
But they will never be forgotten, and we will never let them be. And when those who are to blame hang their heads in shame, only then will their spirits be free. So many loved ones who never remember and families will mourn. Some grieve together and some grieve alone. It was a tragedy